Today, I want us to talk about the most patriotic past living president in the person of Olusegun Obasanjo. I'm not saying other presidents have not been patriotic, but if you look at the antecedent of Olusegun Obasanjo, you will know that he has been very, very patriotic. Like when he was the military head of state, the way he handled Nigeria, because most of the times it's like he was always brought in to reconcile maybe the differences when there is political upheaval, like after the death of Murtala Muhammad. That was when he came in, because of this controversy surrounding his death, who killed him and all that. He was brought in to stabilize the country because of our unity, and he did well. Go and check his antecedent during that time. So when he was going to hand over, there was a context. The election was mainly between Obafemi Awolowo and then Shehu Shagari. Look at what he did. He openly supported Shehu Shagari from the north, something that most leaders will not do. He was the military head of state. He could have, turned the election in favor of his own kinsman, but no. That was when he started having problems with his people, as if he does not like them. No, he was just a patriotic Nigeria. I hope we are getting it. So after that time, even after Shagari won the election, Obasanjo still followed up. He continued to write, as his usual in nature now, he continued to write open letter. He was always critical about this government. He wrote to Shagari, even when, the late Muhammadu Buhari took over from Shagari. He was still critical. He was even telling, he even told him, based on what I read, he even told him that he should not take over from Shagari. He should not conduct any coup. Right from that time till fast forward to Abacha, even Babangida, he was critical of Babangida and all that. Fast forward to Abacha's time. Do you know that this man, because when Abacha was ruling, Abacha was very strict and he was very hard on anybody that was critical of his government. It was very clear, he was very hard, and that was why people are calling him a brutal dictator and all that. Although he too, he was also patriotic in his own way, but we are talking about the most patriotic, which is Olusegun Obasanjo, based on the antecedent. Obasanjo was arrested that he was planning a coup against Abacha. Did you even know that Yar'Adua was his deputy when he was military head of state? At the time, Yar'Adua was already arrested, so information filtered to him that he was going to be arrested anytime he arrived in Nigeria. He was not in Nigeria at that time. Information filtered to him that he was going to be arrested. Do you know he did not hear? He came back to this country and he was arrested and detained from one prison to the other and all that. Yet he survived it. He was even about to, based on what happened, because most of the people that we have caught alongside him now, like his senior Shehu Yar'Adua, was killed. He died in detention. So people thought that Obasanjo too was going to be poisoned in detention. So the judgment was not already passed before the death of Abacha. So when Sani Abacha died now, the next person that came, which is Abdulsalam Abubakar took over from Abacha and released Obasanjo from prison. That was how they marshaled him to come into politics. Obasanjo, being a patriotic leader, so did not trusted him because of his patriotism. Can you see? It would not have been possible that they will trust somebody like that, because the power was in their hand at that time. After the death of Abacha, they gave it to Abdulsalam too, from the Niger state. He's also a northerner. So, and the political brouhaha that was going on due to the annulment of June 12 election and all that. Now we are thinking of a way to pacify the southwest mainly. So they decided to use Obasanjo. Can you see? That is because they knew Obasanjo is a unifying factor, so nobody can doubt that. Everybody trusted him. You can imagine trusting someone like that with such a very heavy position. After several decades of them being in power, they decided to hand over to what? Obasanjo. When Obasanjo came in, he was so scared that maybe military will come over again. So he decided to retire senior military personnel that he thought they could easily plan coup and overthrow a civilian government again. Can you see? So within that time now, Obasanjo ruled as a civilian president and he unified Nigeria. He didn't really, he also contested against Olufalaye because the Southwest did not trust him. They were only seeing him as a northern candidate. Can you see? So because of his patriotism, the Southwest too did not even trust him. Can you see? If he was not patriotic, if he was a sectional leader, why will the Southwest not trust him? They brought Olufalaye. He defeated Olufalaye in the general election. So because of that, they did not even, in fact, he lost all the Southwest states. Can you see? He lost all the Southwest states. Even at that, he was patriotic enough. He shared his position evenly. Can you see? He did not play with anybody. Imagine that during Obasanjo's time, this OPC, Odua People Congress, they came out with some kind of, because they were, they were angry because they were still agitated that Abiola could not take over even after the death of Abiola. Even if somebody is going to succeed Abiola from the Southwest, let it be somebody that is closer to them, somebody that was among his team, but nothing like that. So they began to ferment trouble. Look at how he dealt with them. How many other leaders decided to deal with their own tribesmen whenever they are fermenting trouble like that? He dealt severely with them. Then apart from that, a lot of things came up. Obasanjo tried as much as possible to cancel our debt. That's the one they call Paris debt. So he marshaled an economic team very strong that Okonjo-Iweala, it was during Obasanjo that she came up. Then this El-Rufai to serve during Obasanjo. Then this Mr. Due Process, this is Due Process, Ubi Ezekwe also served during Obasanjo, and Ribadu too served during Obasanjo. And that was how he even gained his prominence into politics when they made him EFCC chairman. You see, a lot of very strong people like that, very competent people, he marshaled them together and ensure that they served under his government regardless of their tribe or religion. See other things he did about religion. It was when Obasanjo was ruling that the issue of Sharia started from Zamfara state. So during that time, most other states now we are trying to transform their state to become Sharia state. There was a real problem in which Obasanjo himself confessed that one of his major trouble, one of his major headache was that of Sharia crisis. Certainly the Christians among those states were agitating now that how can they implement Sharia laws on them while they were indigenous, when they are still indigenous of that state. See, he handled it professionally that it's as if there was even a time he said it will die a natural death. Can you see? Because he was the president, he could have handled it with iron fist, but he didn't. He managed the issue like that to the point that, can you see, even when a crisis ensued in Plateau State, the then governor Darie, in fact, it looked as if he was supporting the Christian population because Plateau State is populated, the Christians are higher in population. So Darie, a lot of Muslims were killed, or let me say the other tribes were killed and all that. Did you know that Obasanjo declared that state of emergency, ostensibly in support of the Muslims, even though he was a Christian, even though he's a Christian? Are you really getting? You see patriotism. How many of us, how many of the other past presidents, or even the present one, will do that? Can you see? So a lot of things happen. In fact, even some people from his party, when he formed this EFCC, did you know that this EFCC chairman, he was even able to instigate the state assembly to impeach some governors as a result of corruption? This one from Ekiti State, Ayofayoshe from Ekiti State, was impeached because of corruption. And this one again, Alame Asaya of Bayelsa State, was also impeached due to corruption. We are others that we are impeached not based on corruption. That one is another story, another day. We are not saying that he did not do a lot of things that he was not supposed to do as a civilian president, but at least everybody knew that most of these presidents used to be power drunk. So generally he was patriotic. So when he was going to hand over again, he handed over to what do you call him, Yar'Adua from the north again. Remember the other time he handed over to who? Shehu Shagari, when he was the military head of state. Now again he handed over to Yar'Adua after the Yar'Adua died. Now look at it. He handed over to Yar'Adua from Katsina State and ensure that his deputy was from Bayelsa State, which is Jonathan. Who would have made Jonathan or somebody from Bayelsa State, one of the lowest states in population in Nigeria, as the vice president? That was how Jonathan came to limelight. Can you see how detribalized this man has always been? And even after he handed over to Yar'Adua, he was still following events. Even during Jonathan, we knew how he fought Jonathan to a standstill. People even thought that he hated Jonathan. No, he didn't hate him. The only thing that he noticed that Jonathan was not, according to him, Jonathan derailed the main the agenda of the state, that is Nigerian state. That time, there was a serious problem that time of issue of Boko Haram, and there were animosity between Muslims and Christians, and it seemed Jonathan was not handling it well based on his appointment and all that. But yet, Obasanjo was very critical of him. After that, he didn't really go and sit down. He didn't even learn from the lesson of Abacha when Abacha took him to prison. That one was not enough to scare him. He was still writing open letter till this moment. You see, Obasanjo is still critical about the activity of the president. How can somebody be more patriotic than this? What do you think he's looking for? When people say that maybe it's because he's not in power again, he has already done his 8 years and he knows he cannot be president again. And it's not as if he hates these people. Some of them he brought them to power by his actions. They were brought to power, like Buhari. When Obasanjo tore his PDP membership card, he was like openly supporting Buhari with the hope that Buhari is going to use his anti-corruption stance, the one he did in 1983 or 84 thereabout. He was going to use it. He was going to use it this time around. That was why he supported him. But when he saw that he was derailing, this man, what did he do? He was not in support of him again. For you to know that this man did not really mean anything bad for Nigeria, and we have to praise him while he's alive. And let me tell you, did you even know that when the issue of Boko Haram came, Obasanjo, he was not the president that time. He traveled to I've forgotten the state, one of these, either Yobe or Maiduguri, to meet one of the pioneer members of the Boko Haram movement, to talk to him, to dialogue with him on how that crisis, because he knew where the crisis was going to. He knew where the crisis was going to, and therefore he went to him. This was all his effort. Apart from the international efforts he has done, debt relief, he boosted our image all over the world. So the man is still alive today, and we have problems. These are the kind of people they should approach for some serious national advice, national discourse, and you will see that based on his experience and antecedent, Obasanjo knows the nook and cranny of this town, of this country. He knows who to meet, he knows who to talk to. If we really want to come out of some of the insecurity crisis or economic crisis that we have, that man has the key. So we are not saying Tinubu is not trying, but there are places he can never be more as experienced as Obasanjo, because Obasanjo experienced the north, the south, and the west. He is a true detribalized Nigerian. So they need to consult that man for the kind of problem that we are facing in this country, and let us hear from him, and you will see that man is ready to work. So another thing is this. One thing that has been a dent on his image is the third-term agenda. Up to now, he has not openly confessed that he was the one, pushing for the third-term agenda. But everybody knew that as the president, there was no way the third-term agenda would have garnered enough dust like that without the support of the presidency. So that one is there. A lot of things, the community massacre, Zakibian massacre, a lot of things too were there that he did that were too harsh. I hope we are getting it. And then before I even forget, did you know that during Obasanjo time, the Inspector General of Police, Tafa Balogun, was arrested, arrested and detained for corruption? Inspector General of Police. What are we doing? Are we not extending their tenures now? So he was a no-nonsense man. That time he does not support corruption, even though sometimes some of his members were involved. But you can see clearly that he gave the EFCC the powers to operate, even though they too were using it to go against opposition political parties or opposition members. But that's not to say that the EFCC was not doing their job well at that time. Thank you so much for listening. If you like this video, thumb up as usual, subscribe to all our social media platforms, and always remember to relax and smile.